He was a shy kid, but once he was comfortable with you, he had a big personality. He would brighten a room when he walked in. Sometimes he was just bigger than life.
19-year-old Timothy Piazza died in February, a grand jury finding he was put through a hazing ritual at his fraternity house called the Gauntlet, forced to drink dangerous amounts of alcohol in a short amount of time. Prosecutors say surveillance video shows him unable to stand, repeatedly falling, first down 15 feet of stairs, then hitting his head on a stone floor, on an iron railing, and on a door before falling down the stairs again. Authorities say fraternity members waited 12 hours before calling 911 and then tried to cover up what happened.
When I walked into the room, it looked like he got hit by a car. It was bad. But I got to see him. I got to say goodbye.
When you got to the hospital, he was still alive.
Yeah.
Were you able to talk to him then?
I remember, I think I held his hand and we were telling him we love him and whatnot, but he was certainly not visibly with us, but we did see a tear come to his eye and roll down his cheek. And I'm not sure if I want to know that he hurt us or not, because if he hurt us, then he knew he was dying, and he would think that he let us down.
The indictment is horrific for anyone to read, but being his parents reading that, I mean, when you read those details.
They killed him. They fed him lethal doses of alcohol, and they killed him. And then they treated him like roadkill, like a rag doll. They slapped him around, they threw water on him. One kid punched his area that it was clearly visible.
They said the spleen was shattered.
It was chilling. As a parent, it was chilling. It was, in my mind, it was murder. They let him suffer for 12 hours. They let him die a very slow death. It's not any way anybody should ever be treated. There were people in that house that knew he was dying, and when they knew that death was imminent the next morning, they waited 42 minutes to call for help while they told people to clean up, cover up the evidence, get rid of it. This wasn't boys being boys. This was criminal activity.
What has been the response to you guys from Penn State officials? What have they said to you?
I've had a dialogue with President Barron to some extent, but otherwise Penn State has been fairly silent. No one from Penn State, or the fraternity for that matter, came to the wake or the funeral.
No one?
No one.
None of these fraternity brothers came to the funeral?
No one.
And no Penn State officials?
No Penn State officials.
You expected a different response from them?
I expected people to care.
You feel like they don't?
I feel like they're covering their butt.
After Timothy Piazza died, Penn State ended pledging at fraternities for the semester and restricted alcohol to beer and wine.
Penn State put some restrictions into place in reaction to your son's death.
Well, first of all, the changes that they put through, we told them they had to. I keep hearing from President Barron, I can't do anything to these fraternities. They're on private property. Universities need to take a tougher stand, and don't give me it's private property. You hold the ultimate pen, which is the pen of expulsion.
Penn State's president, Eric Barron, has called the incident incomprehensible, saying the school's misconduct policy is vigorous. Beta Theta Pi, where Piazza was pledging, was supposed to be a dry fraternity, a result of a suspension 8 years ago.
This was an alcohol-free, hazing-free fraternity with an adult athletic trainer living in the house. But there were years of parties documented on the tapes. Nobody paid attention to anything. I blame all of them.
You referenced tapes. There were security cameras in the house.
Yes.
And there was an adult that you mentioned sleeping upstairs during that time.
Was he sleeping? Who knows?
You've called for him to be fired.
Several times.
Why is that?
Because he had to know that there were illegal parties going on in that house for years that he lived there. He never said a word to anybody. He has a responsibility as an adult, as their advisor, as part of the university staff, to speak up when he sees something going wrong. He didn't. He allowed a young man, my son, to die on his watch. That's why.
It was no surprise that they were having parties. I mean, you can't get rid of all the bottles and vomit and trash.
That man, a chapter advisor, has not been charged. According to the indictment, no one notified him. He's made no comments.
What do you guys want to see happen in the future?
I mean, I think the first thing that has to happen is we need to go through these trials and hopefully make a statement to the country that this can't happen. Tim Piazza is not just our son. I mean, he really represents every son and daughter of every family that is looking to go to college and potentially participate in Greek life in the future. We need to make these changes for them.